So we're learning the Rambam Hilchos Beis Habechira, Perek Aleph, Halacha Yud Beis. Ein boinen es hamikdosh balayla. Shenemar u'biyoyim hakim es hamishkan. Bayoyim mikimin loy balayla. The obligation to build the Beis Hamikdash has a time that it has to be done during the day and not during the night. During the day, that's when you should put up the Mishkan. The same applies to the Beis Hamikdash. That the time to build it is during the day, not at night. The whole entire day, from Alois HaShachar, from daybreak until nightfall, that's the time for the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Then the Rambam says, "V'hakoil chayovim livnois." Everyone is obligated to build, u'lesa'id, and to help, to assist in the building. V'atzmon, with themselves, u'v'mamoinam, and through their money. So everyone is obligated to help out in the building of the Beis Hamikdash, physically and through giving money, donations for the building. Anoshim v'noshim, both men and women are obligated to assist in building the Beis Hamikdash. The Mikdash HaMidbar, just as it was in the Mishkan in the Midbar, that the Torah tells us that everyone participated, the men and the women, so too the building of the Beis Hamikdash. Then the Rambam says, "Ve'ein mevatlin tinoikis shel Beis Rabel lebinyan." However, there's one exception, that is the children who learn Torah. That is so valuable and so precious, the Torah that the young children under Bar Mitzvah learn, that we don't stop them to go build the Beis Hamikdash. The children should continue to learn. The adults, the men and the women, should be busy and involved in building the Beis Hamikdash. The Ein Binyan Beis Hamikdash Doiche Yontif. On Yontif, you're not allowed to build the Beis Hamikdash. You have to stop before Yontif or wait until after Yontif. It's not Doiche Yontif, and of course not Shabbos. And the reason for this is because there's a rule that Ein Asei Doiche Loisase Va'ase. The mitzvah to build the Beis Hamikdash is a mitzvah Asei. The mitzvah to keep Yontif is a mitzvah Asei and a Loisase. It also has a Loisase that Yontif Loisase Melacha, don't do work on Yontif. So therefore the mitzvah of building the Beis Hamikdash does not push away the mitzvah of keeping Yontif. And of course not Shabbos. Now there's a question about this that the Rambam says that the women are also obligated to build the Beis Hamikdash. The question, since the Rambam says that the Beis Hamikdash can only be built during the day and not at night, so therefore this mitzvah seems to be a mitzvah asay shehazman groma. Seems to be a mitzvah that has a specific time, only during the day and not during the night. And there's a rule that a mitzvah asay shehazman groma noshim pturais. Women are potter from mitzvah asay shehazman groma. So how come they are obligated to do the mitzvah of building the Beis Hamikdash? So the answer to this will be very well understood according to the word of the Rogid Shover that I mentioned in yesterday's shir. The Rebbe brings down that the Rogid Shover says that the Rambam's shita is that the mitzvah is that there should be a Beis Hamikdash standing all the time. That is the mitzvah. The actual act of building the Beis Hamikdash is not the mitzvah itself. That is only a hechsher mitzvah, preparation for the mitzvah. The mitzvah is that the Yidden should see to it that there should be a Beis HaMikdash standing all the time, during the day and during the night. The act of building is a Hechsher mitzvah. The obligation to do this act of building, that's the Hechsher mitzvah, that has a specific time during the day and not during the night. But the mitzvah itself, which is that there should be a Beis HaMikdash that is standing all the time, day and night, so therefore it's not considered a mitzvah shehaz mangrama. Considered a mitzvah that always is applicable. Therefore, the women are also obligated to this mitzvah.
Excuse me, they're obligated to the mitzvah that there should be a Beis HaMikdash.
Right.
But not in the building.
No, so therefore the Hechsher mitzvah is also, if they're obligated in the mitzvah, then they're obligated in the Hechsher mitzvah as well. The building is not the mitzvah, all right? So there's rules and conditions how the building should be done, but whoever is obligated in the mitzvah is also obligated to do the building.
The actual builders of the Beis HaMikdash, do they get a mitzvah? Is there a mitzvah?
It's called Hechsher mitzvah.
So they get a mitzvah for the Hechsher.
That means they're doing a preparation for the mitzvah.
So they get a mitzvah.
But the mitzvah that they're getting is because through them,
To prepare
the
for
Beis HaMikdash is going to be actually standing. That is the mitzvah. The mitzvah is the next step, that it will be standing. There will be a Beis HaMikdash standing. That is the mitzvah.
Is preparations for Shabbos called actual mitzvah?
Yes. But the truth is that preparations for Shabbos is a little different because there's a mitzvah that's called Kavod Shabbos. And one of the details of the mitzvah of Kavod Shabbos is to show that Shabbos is honorable. How do you show that it's honorable? That you prepare for it. So it's fulfilling the mitzvah of Kavod Shabbos. That's about preparing for Shabbos. Halacha Yud Gimel. HaMizbeach ein oisin oisoi ela binyan avonim. The Mizbeach, upon which the karbonos are brought, it can be made only from stones. It seems from the pasuk that the Mizbeach is made out of earth. It says Mizbach Adoma Tasali. The Teretz says that means Shehiyeh Mechubar Ba'adoma, that it should be attached to the ground. The Mizbeach itself has to be built from stone, but it has to be attached to the ground. What does it mean that it has to be attached to the ground? It means that there should be no hefsik, no interruption between, nothing interfering between the Mizbeach and the ground. Shaloi Yivnuhu, loy al gabe kipin. You shouldn't build the Mizbeach on top of a dome that's built on the ground. Loy al gabe mechilos, and not on a piece of ground that there are tunnels underneath it. So there's hollow space that separates between the Mizbeach and the ground. That shouldn't be there. The ground under the Mizbeach should be solid without any interference. Ezeh shenemar v'im mizbach avonim. And if a mizbeach of stone, so it could sound like it's optional. Rambam says v'pi Shmuel lamdu she'enoi reshus elo chayva. But it was given over that this pasuk, although it says v'im, it doesn't mean that it's optional. It's an obligation. It has to be made from stone. That's the only material that the Mizbeach can be made from, it's from stones. And then there are rules about the stones. Next halacha says, Kol even shenifki mo. Any stone that has a chip, was chipped. Kedei shetach berbo hatzipoide. If it's chipped big enough that if your nail will go over it, the nail will get stuck on it. So even a little dent or chip in the stone, that if your nail will go over it, it will get stuck. Kesakin shel shchita, that's also the shear of a pagam, for the knife that can be used to shech. So any stone that has this type of pagam, that means a chip, a it's missing a little piece. It's possible, it cannot be used to build the kevesh and the mizbeach, the kevesh and the ram. The mizbeach has to be built from whole stones. The stones have to be whole. Shleimos means it should not even have a small little chip the size that if your nail will go over it, it will get stuck. From where would they get stones for the mizbeach? The Rambam says two options. One option is min besulas hakarka, from fresh ground. Choifrin, you dig, ad shemagiyin, l'mokoim hanikor she'einoim mokoim avoidei ubinyan. You dig into the ground until you reach to a place that it's noticeable that nobody ever dug this. Nobody ever dug this deep down. Nobody ever worked here or built here. It's fresh, solid ground. And whatever is below that, if they find whole stones, those are the stones they would use for the mizbeach. They would take the stones out of the ground that's fresh, solid ground that nobody ever worked over there, or from the Mediterranean Sea. That's also a place where you can assume that nobody was down there if you get the stones from down in the Yam. And you build from them. And so also, Avnei HaHeichol v'Ha'azoros Shleimos Hoyu. The stones that they used to build the whole Beis Hamikdash, the Heichol, and the Azoros, the walls, the roof, all the stones were whole stones, sholem. Stones had to be sholem without a chip. However, there's a big difference between the stones that are needed for the Mizbeach and the stones that are used for the rest of the Beis Hamikdash. That is, that the stones that are used for the Mizbeach are not allowed to be cut with barzel. The regular way that they use to cut stones is using iron tools, barzel. And for the Mizbeach, the stones are not allowed to touch iron. That will be mentioned in the next halacha in the Rambam. So therefore, for the Mizbeach, they had to find stones that are naturally whole stones, and they had to be sure that no barzel ever touched the stones, no iron ever touched the stones. So that's why they had to go deep down in the ground, where they are sure that nobody ever got there yet, to be sure that no barzel touched the stones. So they would not have an option to take a stone that's not whole and make it smooth through using tools, because they're not allowed to use barzel for the stones. So therefore it had to be naturally whole stones. However, for the Heichol and the Azoros, for the rest of the Beis Hamikdash, you needed whole stones, but it did not have to be naturally whole stones. You could take tools and carve it out and straighten it and make it smooth and nice. It should look like a whole stone without a chip, without anything missing. And then it's kosher for building the rest of the Beis Hamikdash. So the similarity between the Mizbeach and the rest of the Beis Hamikdash is that the stones that they used were whole stones. But how to get there is different. The Mizbeach needs naturally whole stones to be sure that barzel never touched the stones. The rest of the Beis Hamikdash does not have to have naturally whole stones. It can be made into whole stones, complete stones, through carving it, cutting it professionally with tools of barzel, as long as this is done outside of the Har Habayis, as the Rambam said earlier. That no tools can be used in the Har Habayis, it has to be prepared outside of the Har Habayis, and then it can be brought in and used to build the Beis Hamikdash. Tesvov, Avnei Heichol va'Azoros. Shenifgimu oy shenigmemu. Once the stone was already put into the building, into the walls, and then it got chipped, or if it got cut with tools, psulim, it becomes possible. You have to remove it and replace it with new stones. V'yein lahen pidyoin, and a stone that was built in the Beis Hamikdash that became possible, you cannot redeem it. You cannot give money to Hektish and use the stone for something. The stone remains with the Kedusha, Elo Nignozim. It has to be put away like Shemus. Put away, it has to be put away. It always contains its Kedusha. The reason is because the stones that are used for the Beis Hamikdash itself, they have the level of Kedushas HaGuf. There's two types of Kedusha. There's Kedushas HaGuf and Kodshei Bedek HaBayis. Generally, all items that are donated for the Beis Hamikdash, so they are in the possession of Hektish, but it's not going to be used in itself for the Beis Hamikdash. Hektish will do something with it for the sake of the Beis Hamikdash, but it's not going to be that in itself will be part of the Beis Hamikdash. All such items are called Kodshei Bedek HaBayis, and those things can be redeemed. You give money, you can redeem it. But anything that's Kedushas HaGuf, that in itself has the Kedusha, cannot be redeemed. So therefore, no, not even in a shoe. No. Once it was used for the Beis Hamikdash, it can't be used for anything else. It's been put in Geniza. That's right. No, it's just put in Geniza. Put in Geniza. Nobody should come to use it. I don't know. It's not mentioned here. Now the Rambam says, Kol even shenoga bo ha-barzel. Any stone that barzel, iron, touches it, even if it did not cut into it at all. Psula lebinyan ha-mizbeach ubinyan ha-kevesh. That is possible for the mizbeach and the kevesh. Shenemar. Because it says in the pasuk, Ki charbecha heinafta aleha v'techal aleha. Actually, the first part of the pasuk is the next part that the Rambam brings. Lo sivne esen gozis. You should not build the mizbeach and the kevesh from gozis. Gozis means a stone that was cut, carved out, and smooth. Now why? The Torah says, why shouldn't you use the stone that was cut and carved? Ki charbecha heinafta aleha. Because you put your knife that's made from iron on it. That made it possible. So you see in the pasuk that the problem is that the iron knife touches it. That's the problem. So even if it does not cut it at all, just touches it, the stone becomes possible for the mizbeach and the kevesh. The haboyne even shanoga bo barzel, someone who does build a stone that iron touched on mizbeach and kevesh loiken, gets malchus shenemer lo sivne esen gozis. It's a lav, a loy sasa. The haboyne even pogum, someone builds a stone that was not complete. Iron did not touch the stone, but it wasn't a whole stone. It was not complete. It had a chip. Oiver ba'asei. That is in Aveda, that's oiver ba'asei, because it says, Avodim shlei bois tivne es mizbach Hashem olikecha, that it should be complete. So there's a mitzvah sasei, that it should be avonim shleimos, and there's a mitzvah loy sasei, loy sivne es and gozis. Gozis means that iron tools were used on it. So if an iron tool touched it, that's a loy sasei. If it's just plain chipped and not whole, that's a mitzvah sasei, that it has to be whole. Tes zayin. Even shenifkimo, oy shenoga bo barzel, achar shenivnis b'mizbeach. What happens if after it was built into the mizbeach, one of the stones got chipped, or if an iron touched one of the stones, so it does not passel the whole mizbeach. If this was done, achar shenivnis b'mizbeach levakevesh, oy so even psula. That stone is possible, it has to be removed and replaced. The hashar kshedos, but all the other stones are kosher. Umilabnin es hamizbeach ha'amayim bashona, and they put a new coating of plaster on the mizbeach twice a year, ha'pesach u'bechol, before Pesach and before Sukkot, put a fresh coating of sid, plaster on the mizbeach, cover the stones with the smooth coating of sid all around. And when they do this, they use a material cloth to put this coating of sid around the mizbeach. But not with a tool of iron. Because there's a concern you might end up touching the stone, and then it becomes possible. It's not definite that you're going to touch a stone because the coating is on top of the stones. You're not definitely going to touch a stone. So if iron touches the sid that's on top of the stones, that does not passel the mizbeach. Sid is the plaster, coating the plaster that's around the mizbeach on top of the stones. The mizbeach is made from a bunch of whole stones. And then they put a coating, plaster all around it to make it smooth and nice. So once you have this coating on, if barzel touches the coating, not a psul, but there's a concern that it might touch a stone in one spot if the sid gets rubbed off. That's why you're putting a new coating. It might be an open stone somewhere. You might touch it and passel it, therefore they would not use a tool of iron, but rather a cloth. No, only bars. But generally, all strong tools are made from bars.
So what tools that would be kosher?
No, they would use a cloth, not a tool. Cloth.
When it's polished?
Yeah. Halacha Yud Zayin, Ein Oisin Madreigois LaMizbeach. Mizbeach should not have any steps. Shenemar Loisale B'Malois Al Mizbechi. Don't go up with steps on my Mizbeach, says the Eibishter. So no steps. So how do you get up there? Elaboinin Kemoiteil. You build a ramp on the dorm side of the mizbeach. It's a ramp that on top, near the mizbeach, is the highest point of it, and then it slants down lower and lower till the ground. So you walk up the ramp to get to the mizbeach. This is called the kevesh. If someone does go up with steps, gets malchus, over the lav, if someone breaks a stone of the mizbeach, or from the whole Beis Midrash, the heichal is the inside building, which includes the ulam, the kodesh, and the kodesh hakadosh. Or from the area between the ulam and the mizbeach. So from any one of these areas, if someone breaks a stone, derech hashchasa, in a way of ruining, like it gets malchus shenemar, the tatztem es mizbechoi som, you should break the mizbeach of avodah zorah. But don't do so the mizbeach that's for the Eibishter. So it's allowed if someone breaks in a way of ruining he's over the lav. But if someone is doing construction and therefore has to break something in order to fix, that is permitted. Halacha Yudches, HaMenoida v'Keileha, the Menoida and all the kelim that are used for the Menoida. The HaShulchan v'Keilov, and the Shulchan and all the kelim that are used for the Shulchan. The Mizbach HaKtoires v'Chol Klei Shoris, and the Mizbeach for the Ktoires, and all the Klei Shoris, all the kelim that were used in the Beis HaMikdash for the Avodah. Ein Oison Oison Elam HaMatchis Bilvad. They can only be made from metal. It has to be made out of metal. The Osum Shal Eitz, made out of wood, or etzem, or bone, or even, or stone, or shulchuchas, or glass. Psulin is possible. It must be made from metal. What type of metal? All types of metal are kosher. The Rambam says, Hoyu hakol aniyim. If the people were poor, oisin afilu shel bedil, they can make it from a very cheap metal, which is tin. The im has shidu, and if they got rich, oisin zohov, they should make it from gold. If possible, they should make it from gold, the most beautiful and choshev and metal that they should use if it's possible. Afilu hamizrokois v'hashpudin. These are the kelim that are used to contain the blood of the carbon and to hold the meat of the carbon, the hamagreifos and the shovels, shel mizbeach ha'olah that are used to remove the ashes from the mizbeach, the hamidos and the measuring cups, im yesh koyach batzibur, if they have the ability, oisin shel zov, they should make it all from gold. Came to the Beis HaMikdash, whatever it may be used for, it's for the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore it deserves to be from gold. The Gemara says that lo nivra zov ela b'shvil Beis HaMikdash. The whole metzius of the gold was created for the Beis HaMikdash. Through the Beis HaMikdash, the whole world got a little bit of gold too, but the whole purpose of the gold was for the Beis HaMikdash. Afilu sharei ha'azara, even the doors, mechapanos on zov, should be covered with gold in motza yodam if they have the ability to do so. Halacha Chof, general halacha about everything that is being made to be used in the Beis HaMikdash. Ein oisin kol ha'kelim b'tchilosan elo l'shem ha'kodesh. All kelim that are going to be used in the Beis